I'm sure you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. So today is a continuation of our last week training or engagement on building effective teams. And this is module 2. We did module 1 last week. So today we're going to tackle module 2. And just to remind ourselves what we did last week, we touched on what we explained and defined what a team is. We also discussed the differences between groups and teams, what composes of a team, and what is teamwork. We described the various team models, and also we described the various types of teams, the stages of team development, very, very important. We also looked at the effective team management skills. So today we start by asking ourselves, what is team building? And if you allow me, I would want to pose this question to you, the participants, and just to ask ourselves, what is team building? And it's open, be free, anyone can respond. And like I say, we learn from each other, so there's no wrong answer. All answers are correct when it comes to adult learning. So what do you think is team building?
For me, I think often when, like in the office, when we talk about team building, we think more of the activities. You know, people, let's say, let's have a team building. They are thinking of the day out or the day we will have the activities with the facilitators. But I think team building is actually building, bringing people together to build a cohesive team that can work together in unison and deliver the results that are required in an effective way.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Irene. True, when we hear about the word team building, what comes to our mind is activities, but I agree with you, team building is more than activities, it's more about bringing people together and to develop that cohesiveness within the team. Anyone else who has a different view or would want to add to what Irene has told us? Welcome, those who are joining us, welcome. So we are asking ourselves, what is team building? So it's a question that I've posed to everyone, and feel free to respond. Just unmute and tell us what you think it is. Khadija, you want to try? Okay. Yes, Jenganga, you want to tell us what you think about this question, or what is your view?
This is Khadija.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just looking at the dictionary. It's saying the action or process of causing a group of people to work together effectively as a team. So it's talking about an action or process of causing people to work together, especially by means of activities and events designed to increase motivation and promote cooperation. So that is a dictionary version of it.
Okay. So it's an action of people to work together towards, I would imagine, towards a certain goal, right?
Right.
Okay. So thank you so much, Khadija and Irene, for that. And I think what is coming out clearly is that when you hear about team building, what comes to our minds is the activities. However, we are clearly seeing that the team building, it's more than that. Actually, activity is one of the ways of building a team. So that is, I want to appreciate that input. So let's see what we have here. So in terms of the definition that we have, so when we are told that team building refers to the various activities undertaken to motivate a team member and increase the overall performance of the team. Because we are told as leaders, you don't just expect people to perform on their own. That's how you have to ensure that they remain motivated. And team building is one of the things that ensures that they're motivated. And we're told that team building activities consist of various tasks undertaken to groom a team member, motivate him, and make him perform. So the key essence here, or the key words like Irene and Khadija have rightly brought out, is one, to groom that team member, to motivate him, and to enable him to perform at his best. So we go on and we asked, when do we build these teams? Yeah. And the question that we're saying is that you should always remember that teams aren't necessarily to complete all tasks. You should ask yourself 3 questions to test to see if building a team fits the situation. So this is whereby we are reminded that as much as we want to have the team building, we did say the activities, but you cannot have activities all the time. You need to ask yourself, am I ready for a team building activity? And the questions that you need to ask are the following. So one is the work complex, and is there a need for different perspectives? At times you'll find out in some organization, as you embark to pick up a very complex assignment, some organizations or some functions will put up a team activity just to try and explain to people, maybe to give clarity. So you need to ask yourself the complexity. Also, does the work create a common purpose or set of goals for the group that is larger than the individual? Yeah. And are the members of the team involved in interdependent tasks? And this is whereby you find in some areas when you're having a team building, you can have a team building within your own function, and you can have a team building with other functions. And that's why you find, like this being the end of year, most organizations will be having or have had the team building activities in form of maybe their staff parties, whereby it engages everyone. So further than we are told about the importances of this, yeah? And we are told the following are the various reasons that teams are gaining popularity in organizations. So the first is because we want greater results. And I think we say that you want people, that action, whatever you want them to undertake, is because at the end of the day, what you're looking for is greater results. Talent utilization. When you talk about talent utilization, is whereby we are told everyone in their own capability has a talent. So by effecting good team building strategies, then you're able to enable your people, or to enable the people you're working with, to come up and they're able to showcase their talent. They're able to unleash the potential that they have within them. Engagement, very key. This is the current trend right now, is everyone is talking about staff engagement, and most organizations will be like, what is your staff engagement index or something? So the team building activities embrace the principles of engagement. This commitment, it enhances commitment, motivation, like we said, flexibility, and there's a cost benefit. And maybe one will ask themselves, why a cost benefit here to we're investing in this? But as we all know, an employee who's not motivated, when they're demotivated, most of the times they come and they don't do anything. So, and you're paying that employee. So having effective team building strategies enhances or enables an organization to save on its costs. And on that line, we're going to look at some gentleman here called Dr. Meredith Belbin. And I'm going to request someone to read for us. Please, anyone who'd like to read for us? It's open. Feel free. Let's engage. Anyone who'd want to read for us? Please feel free. Or I call up a name. Though I prefer when people volunteer, it's always more, it's sweeter and better. Irene, you seem like you don't want to read for us.
Let me read. I was hoping somebody else would volunteer. Okay, Belbin's team rules. In the 1970s, Dr. Belbin and his research team at Henley Management College set about observing teams with a view to find out where and how differences come about. They wanted to control the team dynamics to discover how problems could be preempted and avoided. The research revealed that the difference between success and failure of a team was not dependent on factors such as intellect but more on behavior. The research team began to identify separate clusters of behavior, each of which formed distinct team contributions or team roles. You're muted.
Thank you, Irene. Sorry for that. Thank you so much for reading for us. Maybe just a question. What is your insight on that write-up? What comes to your mind as you're reading it? Anyone who'd want to tell us what came up to their minds? I think for me, when I look at it, there's two things that come up. Whereby the research is that they wanted to discover even how problems could be preempted and avoided. Because we all know, like in teams, if there's anything that can break a team is when you have so many issues, you have problems. So one is to find out, to discover what can we do to ensure that these problems are not there. And one of the things that came up from this research is that there's a difference between success and failure of a team because of two things, intellect and behavior. And we're told in terms of team, it's more of the behavior because all of us in a team have a role that we play. And as we get on with the presentation, we're going to see the roles that we play as team members. So thank you so much, Irene, for that. So as we continue, based on the research that these guys did, headed by Dr. Belbin, they came up with 9 team roles. And you can see they have the core ones, which are 3. Then from the core ones, then we have the primary ones. So the first role of a team, and I believe even for us, we are teams in a way. We are all team members where we work. Even in this training, we are team members. So the first one is thinking. And one of the roles that one is required in terms of thinking is you're supposed to plant. Maybe you plant an idea. You're supposed maybe to be a specialist. And that's you'll find, like even in an organization, there are those who will be in finance. There are those who will be in marketing. There are those who will be in corporate affairs. Then as you think, once you plant, there's a specialist element. You need to monitor what you've planted. If it is, let's say it's an objective, or like for HR, you've come up with a very, very good policy. Do you monitor it? Do you, excuse me? Do you monitor it? Do you evaluate its effectiveness to the business? Then the other team role is the people. We are the people. Yeah? We're the resource investigator. Do we understand ourselves? Do we understand that we are a key resource? And like I tell people, the HR is the most important asset in any organization. Yeah. Are we able to coordinate our people? Are you able to even coordinate yourself as a person? Then we have the team worker. Are you a team worker? You know, when you think about yourself, you evaluate yourself as a team player. Are you a team player? Or that is just a terminology that we use. Then the other one, the other role is action, whereby as a team, it is our role to implement. We have thought about something, we are the people, then we are supposed to implement it. That's the action bit of it. And I think we talked about even in the definition, Khadija told us very well, it's about action of the people to work. So do we implement? Do we complete? Are we finishers? Or a team member is supposed to finish what you start? And out of that, you're able to shape it up. If it's a policy, maybe it's a culture change, you're able to bring it up and you can say, by the way, we can embrace our policy because of this, we have a code of conduct. So those are the 9 key roles, according to Dr. Belbins and his team, of our roles as team members, or the expectations that everyone or your team leader would be expecting from any team member. So further we go and we say that you can build a team and enhance a teamwork in the following ways. So there are 3 ways. And like we said in our introduction, is that we have the activities bit and we have the real team building, which is by at the end of the day, you want to ensure that people come together and do the work together towards achieving some specific goal. So we'll start with the first one. We have the retreat, we have the exercise and games, and we have the professional way of enhancing teams. So I will start with number 1, and I will request this time, I will request someone to read for us number 1. Anyone who'd want to volunteer and read for us the number 1, which is the retreat. And as you read, once you're done with reading, tell us your thoughts or your insights around it. Kindly, it's open. Let's engage. Anyone who'd want to read for us? Sonny Gathoni? This is Lydia, this is McKenna. Gloria? It's okay.
Good morning. Okay, I'm in a vehicle, but I'll just try and read. So number 1, retreat. Take employees out of the office for a weekend getaway. A retreat should be a mix of training and fun. Go out for lunch or movies or celebrate their birthdays, anniversaries, and let them come close to each other. Celebrate your team member's birthday, anniversary, or any other important date, and do not forget to wish him that day, or her. Ask for a treat. This way, individuals are no longer strangers to each other, and the bonding increases.
Absolutely. And what are your thoughts around that?
I think this is a very good team building, a way of team building, because it makes the team members feel closer when you're coming close to something that is probably valuable to them, for example, birthdays or anniversaries. So they feel that probably you care about them, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you. They feel cared for. And like you said, like it's a personal thing. It's my birthday, it's my anniversary. So the moment I realize that my team members actually remember my birthday and be able to come together to celebrate it, then I really feel that, wow, I feel cared. I feel I'm part of that. And at the end of the day, it increases the bonding within a team. And maybe the question I'd want to pose, and this is a question I'll pose, and let's just answer. I'm sure all of us have maybe a notebook, is the people we interact with, do you even know their birthdays? If you're a team leader, do you know the birthdays of your team members? If you're a team member, do you know the birthdays of your colleagues? Do you celebrate them? And celebration is not just about having that big party, even a note of happy birthday, even like, let's go for lunch for happy birthday, And like we said earlier, people have different talents. And what I encourage people is, from your team or from your group, there's always that person who's very good at these things. They love birthdays, they love parties, they love, they love organizing these things. Just give them that responsibility and tell them, by the way, take the list of everybody's birthday and just be reminding us, And of course, ensure you also get that the person's birthday so that on their birthday, you also remember it. Because I have seen situations whereby we've had people who organize the birthdays, but when it comes to their birthday, people forget. And they really feel, they feel like, oh my goodness, they have been working so hard for these people, but on my day, they forget. So these are very simple things, very doable, with a very minimal cost implications that you can do to ensure that you bond with your family, with your team. And of course, after that, you're going to be able to increase the performance. Okay, the second one is exercises and games. Who'd want to read for us? Lydia? Lydia, are you with us? Okay, I will ask Jay Nganga. Someone who's logged in as Jay Nganga.
Yes.
Thank you. Kindly read for us.
Games can range from a friendly basketball game. There, I think I can't see the end part of it. There are great trust exercises to teach teams how to work together. I think the team building exercises also increase the trust factor amongst the employees. Team building games assist in developing and an environment of effective communication and community building. They utilize mental abilities of the learner.
Thank you very much. What is your thought about that?
Well, it is one of the ways to bring teams together, and through exercises like it has been defined. And in these exercises, it brings the bonding together amongst the employees. And in the so doing, I think it builds up trust amongst the employees in the teams. And at the end of the day, when they come back to their working environment, definitely this improves a lot of teamwork and the work relationships, and of course, trust amongst the employees. And therefore, at the end of the day, teamwork and the performance is greatly improved, or challenged at least, so that these people can work together as a team and they see each other in a different perspective than it were. That's the way I look at it.
Lovely, lovely, true. You start looking and seeing somebody at a different perspective, as not just that person who is always in the office very busy, especially the finance people, or everybody in a team has their own personality. So these exercises help you to unfreeze, help you to build up the trust within yourselves, and you're like, wow, you mean, Irene, you can play football like that? You mean, so somehow you're able to laugh, you're able, they say, all of us have that small us in us, the small you always have that small child that you want. And one of the things that these exercises bring up is that small person, that child in us. And when that comes out, it comes out with a lot of energy. It really brings up a lot of excitement, a lot of motivation. And you can attest to me that in most cases, once you're out from a team building, when people go back to the office, there's always that, there's some form of excitement. There's a lot of positive energy. And of course, this, at the end of the day, brings up a lot of performance. And like we all know, currently, all of us and most organizations are really struggling with the mental issues. And we still haven't gotten a breakthrough, because someone will come and tell you, but then I think I have a mental issue. So, but with these exercises, there's a way they just open up, they open up, they make people relax. So it's an encouragement that let's try as much as possible to have these exercises and games. And that's why you find, like currently most organizations, you'll find, like where I work, you will find they have pool tables, they have basketball, They have, things that are during your break time, during your tea break, during your lunchtime. You're just able to go and just play a game of pool, And as you're playing, of course, you're interacting with your colleagues and you're able to catch up. And of course, in the process, you're able to build up the trust within yourself. Thank you so much for that. So we go to the third one, the professional. So who would want to read for us? McKenna?
If McKenna is not able to, I can read.
Please do, I'll appreciate, thank you, go ahead.
Okay, number 3, professional. Sometimes, in spite of your best efforts, you may feel that you are not able to pull the members of your team close together. This may happen due to diverse personalities of individuals that clash together. If you do not feel that you can achieve team building objectives on your own, hire a professional to come and conduct a workshop.
Thank you. And what are your thoughts, your insights around that?
This means that when you do not have the skills or capabilities, like it says, to do the team building activities, maybe the games, the exercises, or the retreat, you engage somebody who can come and facilitate that so that it can achieve its objective.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. It's based on the strengths that you have. Once in a while, you'll feel that for us to have an effective team building, it's good to get a professional who will come and undertake the process. And maybe like when you go out for those team building activities, you'll hire a team building firm. They'll come and do all those great activities that they can. And of course, at the end of the day, you as a team, you're able to get closer. So it is not it's not a weakness to hire a professional. It is very, very encouraged. And the beauty is that all of you are able to participate, So when you get this professional, they'll come and they conduct the workshop and you'll be seated and you'll also enjoy yourself. And at the end of the day, then you'll be able to have benefited from the activities. So thank you so much, Irene. So there's a video that I'd want to play. I hope let me try and play it. And this is going to help us to understand ways of building great teams. So we hope it plays. Can you hear anything?
No.
Hi guys, are you able to listen to hear the video?
Yes, me, I can hear.
Could you view it?
No.
I can see you, but I can't see the screen. Don't know.
Okay. Let me try and reshare. Can you see my screen, guys?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I was trying to play a video, but it seems I was seeing it on my side, and It's unfortunate. I think not everyone saw it. Anybody who saw the video, or you just hearing the voice?
I didn't see the video.
And the voice?
For me, it was muffled sounds. I couldn't hear exactly what the words were.
Okay, sorry for that. So maybe I would really encourage all of us to pick up this YouTube. This is the link. You can write it down kindly. And in your free time, kindly listen to it. It's a very interesting, very informative video about how we can build great teams by a guy called Robin Sharma. I know all of us know him. He's a leadership guru. And maybe to just summarize, he talks about 5 things that bring up winning teams. So I will summarize the video, and but I'll encourage that once you get time, kindly go through it. So one of the things that he says that we need to do to build winning teams is, he starts by saying that the bigger your dream, the more you need to think about your team. So the bigger you should invest in your team. And the kind of investment is not about the financial investment, it's just about the soft skills. And like we said earlier, it's more of trying to build on the behavior. So the first thing he says is, 1, you need to be appreciation is very key. And he emphasizes that most of the team members or the team leaders, we are too busy to appreciate our team. So let's try as much as possible to appreciate them. He also talks about building a sense of belonging. People want to feel that they belong. So let us encourage them. Let's build trust within ourselves, within our teams, and they feel that this is where they belong. And like we always say, that we spend most of our times with our colleagues, most of our productive times with our colleagues. So you need to be in an area, in a place whereby you feel you're part of that community or part of that team. The third one is that for you to get great teams, you need to help them grow. You need to develop them, because everybody has a talent. So you need to give them feedback, positive feedback, for them to know which areas am I supposed to improve on, so that they become. And what he says is that the same element of us becoming so busy, we are so busy, we don't have time to mentor. And that's why you find some people will leave an organization, not because they don't like the organization, but because maybe the boss is so busy for them, the boss. And you've had this notion that people say, people leave bosses, not organizations. But if you have a boss who helps, who grows you, who develops you, who has time for you, who mentors you, then you're able to even have some ownership in that organization. The fourth one, he says that we need to celebrate together. Any small win, celebrate together. Go for a pizza lunch, buy a cake, come have chocolates, do something that will enable you to celebrate together as a team. Then the last one, which is the fifth one, he talks about communication, clarity. People need to understand, what is our expectation? I'm in this team, what is my role? So we need to ensure there's always continuous communication. People get feedback, people get to know what is happening, people get to understand. And communication is not one way. Communication is supposed to be 2 ways, whereby you communicate as a team lead and the other people also communicate. So you have to ensure that you have enhanced your communication channels, because that way you're able to build stronger teams. So that is a brief summary of the video. And I will encourage, I'm sure you've written it down. And since you're also going to share the notes on our website, also on the link, you can be able to rewatch it in a more, maybe I think maybe it's the compatibility. I don't know what happened, because from my side, I was actually seeing it very well. So that is a summary. So I don't know if there's anyone who has a question or require any clarity on that. Any question or clarity on the 5 things that we require? That is appreciation, building a sense of belonging, developing teams, celebrating our wins, and communication. Any question? Okay, if none, then I go to the next one. And these are the team building exercises. So we're supposed to just describe them. And this is whereby we are told that team building activities reduce the chances of confusion, misunderstanding, and in a way make the communication very effective, because individuals are very clear about their goals and objectives and exactly what is expected of them. Team building games must be flexible enough and take into consideration the fact that learners come from different backgrounds, have different mental levels, different potential, different patience rate, and amalgamation of other differences. Such games assist in employee motivation. And I would want to pause. I know all of us have been engaged in team building activities, whereby maybe you go out, you've been given an exercise that you need to do as a team. And in most cases, we'll have gotten maybe like a professional to come and run our team building, and they'll give you an exercise that looks very, very complex, you know? And like in most cases, they'll give you the exercise, you do it the first time, then they give you, after you pick the lessons, you do it the second time. And I would, if it's okay, I would want one of us, if you can, to share with us a team activity that you may have undertaken, and what was your feel and what were the take-home lessons from that? Anyone who'd want to give us an experience or share a team building activity? It's open. Kindly, let's share. Anyone who'd want to share with us?
Hi.
Hi.
This is Hadija. So there is one that is always, I think, very much used, and this one is to test communication, where one person is given some information and then told to share it with the rest of the group. So you pass on what you had, so that at the end of passing on that information to everybody, like the way we are in a class, to try to see, did the information pass the way it was given, or was it distorted in the process, so that the teams can really understand the importance of communication. So I think that is one of the most used. And then there are some that is tug of war. I think those are some of the most used team building activities.
Let me just, especially for the communication, what normally happens, the message that was conveyed, the message that was given to the first person and the last person, especially during the first round.
Yes, that one usually doesn't get back the same way. It changes completely.
Completely, and you're like,
so
gosh.
From the first person, and the first person is told what they were told, and the last person to say what they heard is completely different things.
Mm-hmm. And
so those
maybe
are the things people do to really appreciate what happens when communication is distorted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe from that example, thank you so much, Khadija, for that example. Yeah, it's a very, very common exercise. And I tell people, even if you repeat it 1,000 times, somehow there's always that distortion. But you find if you repeat it and maybe like for 3-4 times, and maybe there's clarity. And if you tell people, no, you can take your time and everything, there's a way, but still you find there'll be that confusion. So that tells you, and what I like about it is when the last person says what they say and everybody just starts laughing, and when you start asking, what did this communication, was a breakdown? And you find, in most cases, you'll be able to get the source. And the person who is the source of breaking the communication, in most cases, will try to defend themselves, saying, no, this is what I was told. These are very exciting. So for those who maybe have not used it, it's a very, very exciting, whereby you pick a message, like I would say, today is Sunday, and I'll give it, people will be lying. So I'll tell like Khadija to say today is Sunday. So they tell the next person and the next person. And then the gist is that the last person, you may find out whatever they'll say is very different. So it brings that a lot of fun. So it's something you can check up, and you can also engage your team with it. And also the tug of war, like she rightly says, people whereby at times you feel the team that feels is strong, in most cases ends up being pulled. And the reason is because this other team looks at those people like, oh, they have the muscles. So they strategize, you know. And those are the essence of building teams, because you bring up people's capabilities. People are able to ask ourselves, what are we going to do to ensure that we win? And that is a principle that we all would want to harness in our workplace, whereby everybody wants to win. And in this case, the win is the performance. We have all organization goals and objectives that we would want to achieve. So by these activities, when you get the activities from the ground to the office, with that mentality whereby we want to win, we want to be the best, we want to ensure we get it right. We want to ensure that if this communication, if I'm the one who's told, I don't want to get it wrong. So that when you build that behavior, then the same behavior, you take it to the workplace. Then, like we're told by Robin, what will happen is then the productivity will go high. People will feel, wow, you know, if we're able to do that, then we can also be able to do something else that is even more complex. So kindly, let's try and undertake these team building activities. And like how we've discussed some of the exercises, others will be like the trust building exercises. This is whereby team members must trust each other for the maximum output. Encourage many trust building exercises in your team. Your trust factor increases with time and relations among the team members. And one of the, you see there's a team, there's one of the exercise here. Maybe we can just, I'm sure we are all reading it, whereby one person is, you're blindfolded by your team member and they have to guide you. I've also undertaken a team building on trust whereby you had to go through some very crazy place, you know, and you're blindfolded, and when you remove your fold and you're like, my goodness, how did I even jump, you know? Because there's a place where you even jump in and you're like, my goodness, how did I do it, you know? And that helps in terms of creating trust, because as a team, if you don't trust each other, you'll always have fear that, wow, what is Irene up to? Even when I come and ask you something, Irene, what are you doing? You're like, what are you up to? But with this kind of trust exercises, you're able to trust each other because you all know you're all headed towards achieving a certain goal and no one is there to hurt each other. Okay. We also have the icebreaker activities, and this mainly we'll do them when we have maybe in our meetings, especially when you want to understand each other. They're mainly done in trainings. However, I also encourage people, like when you have a meeting and you just want to have people to just, you know, loosen up people, you know, whereby you want to understand people. And one of the things that I've seen that works, and this is exercise whereby you tell people, tell me one thing that you don't know about myself, you know. And people will tell you very interesting things. They're like, wow, I didn't know, Irene, you could do that. I didn't know, Irene, you could dance. I didn't know you can play this, you can play that, you know. So these exercises are very good because they open up people and people see, wow, you know, we are real, you know. You're not just our colleagues, you're not just co-workers. We are real, we are human beings, you know. You love playing, I love dancing, I love dance, I love this, you know. Then also the colors, what kind of colors do you love, you know? I love purple, you love red, and you're like, oh, no wonder you're always in red. And you see, the beauty is the moment you get to understand people, as you're celebrating your successes, like if I say, I love purple, I love this, maybe I love chocolate, I love, you know. So if tomorrow is my birthday, you're very sure that you're going to buy me a chocolate cake, you know. It makes you understand your team. When you're celebrating, you're like, she loves red. So in case you want to buy for her something or him, you'll buy something that is red. There's some guys who will say me, I love white shirts, you know. So in case you want to buy him a shirt, you're very clear that whatever shirt you're going to buy has something in white. So it really helps you understand people. And I'm sure you've taken some gifts to someone and like, gosh, how did you find out? How did you know that this is my color? You know, so as a team leader, these activities help you to understand your people. And I always tell people, when you're having these icebreaker activities where people are talking about themselves, kindly note it down. Understand and know, oh, so and so say this is their best meal. They love pizza, you know, they love this, they love this. On their birthday, if they love chicken, on their birthday, ensure the place that you're going to go is a place where they make very good chicken. If they love pizza, take them, you know. So it really helps you understand, and nothing is nice. I'm sure all of us seated here, if somebody did something that you like, you feel nice, I believe so. So let's not take it like just another exercise. Let's take it with the seriousness because it helps us to build our teams better. We also have teamwork activities, whereby we encourage activities where individuals come together as a single unit and work for a common task as a team. This is whereby maybe you'll be given some materials and you're told, do this, you know. And at times when, especially when we're undertaking those activities, you look at the seriousness and the concentration that people put on that, and it is really, really humbling. So that those kinds, so don't feel like they just You know, there's some people who go for the team activities and they're like, it's a waste of time. It is never a waste of time. It helps build the skills. It helps. And you find all of you are together thinking about a certain goal, regardless of your position. Because one thing we've realized is that when you're undertaking the team building activities, they are not titles. And you can imagine after you've undertaken a very complex activity without titles, how everyone feels. Everybody feels as a winner. And then those are the same principles that we should and we encourage to take back to the office. You know, we're able to do that. We're able to tackle that. I've seen people running around with water and you're like, you can't fill a bucket. By the time you're able to fill it, you know, and all of you are doing it. So the moment you go back to the office, you know, those stories you talk about it, hey, Irene, you know, you did this, you know, your idea, people feel important and you're able to work together. And at the end of the day, your performance, the performance of the organization, the performance of the unit, the performance of a person as an individual, because their motivation has already been boosted up. So kindly, let's not take them for granted. Okay, so these are just some of the some team building activities that you can embrace at your workplace. And since we shared these notes with you, you can always interact with them and maybe pick one or two and go and exert your team. Okay. Also the communication, Khadija, the communication one is here. Always, it's one of my, trust me, it's one of my best, because it's always very hilarious, you know. It brings a lot of confusion on everybody. Everybody's like, no, you know. So it's a very good exercise. So for those who have not maybe tried it out, just try it out and see how it works. And we can always engage. You can always reach out to us in case you feel you need more information about that, okay? Because one, it helps to build our communication skills. And I know what comes out, most of these exercises, whoever is facilitating is, they'll always ask you a question. What are the lessons learned? What did you learn, you know? And you'll be like, no, maybe I didn't listen. I wasn't keen. I was fast. I just wanted to finish, you know? So all this, and you're like, what can you do differently? And in most cases, when you say, what can you do differently? And you repeat that exercise twice or thrice, then the communication line becomes very, very effective. And the error percentage reduces. So kindly, these are very, very good exercises, because we all know communication is key to everything. If people don't understand, then you can be assured that you'll have a challenge. So kindly, let's ensure that we embrace communication. Okay. Thanks, you, Khadija. Yes, communication is key. It's everything, because everything we do is communication. Even what you're doing right now, we are communicating. Even in the office, when whatever you're doing is about communication. So it's a very, very important exercise, and you're going to enjoy it as you build on your skills. Okay. So here they are, still about on communication. Yeah. So just a question that we're being asked is that, did you know that one of the greatest flaws that most team building exercises suffer is is the case where the leader remains the leader during the activity. Yeah, you're the boss, you're the one who knows. You start the team, you are the one, you know, you're the one who's instructing everyone. However, like I said, when you go for these team building activities, there should be no title. Just remember that, no title. You're there for a team building activity. Let people be. And if anything we are told as a good leader, it's best when you sit back and you listen. Because there's nothing as exciting as the other team members when they come up with ideas, which maybe you know them so well. Yeah. But you just want to give them that feel like, wow, they also can bring up something on the table. So just sit there as a leader and listen. So all of you are leaders. And when we're at the team building activity, I always encourage people, especially in the leadership, when a team chooses a leader, try as much as possible. If they tell you to be their leader, just tell them no. Let someone else be a leader. Don't be a leader in the office. When again you go to the team building activities, you're still the leader, you know? Let them feel, let them have that feel of like, wow. Let them get the stress that it gets to be a leader, you know? Because even leading a team, even in these activities, at times, it takes a lot of energy. So let them get to understand, so that when they see you stressed up in the office, when you put in pressure on everyone, they're like, wow, I think I have a feel of what it means. And at times you even hear someone say, hey, I don't even envy you. Let me remain where I am. So always ensure that as you undertake these team building activities, you are a team member. You're not a leader. Put down the titles. Okay. So now we go to the next one, which is whereby we're explaining the team contract. And team contracts, this is whereby we're told it's very important for any team to make an assessment of their current strengths. Very, very important. Yeah, because this will provide the basis for a plan in order to increase the effectiveness of the team in order to achieve organizational goals. If you don't know your strengths, then how do you now become, how do you build on them? Because as much as you're taking this assessment, the moment you know your strengths, you're supposed to achieve this goal. What strengths do you have? Yeah. Secondly, by assessing yourself, as you're assessing your strengths, you'll come up with your areas of improvement. Because maybe whatever you need to do, there is one skill that is very, very important. Maybe you don't have it in your team. Nobody in your team has that skill. So what do you do to ensure that you have the skill or you complement each other to ensure that that gap is not very obvious to everyone? And that's why we're told the team contracts are made to outline the ground rules for the team. Yeah, it is important for the team leader to state what he wants in his team and what he does not want in his team. Team contracts are created as well, monitored by the team. Any team contract primarily is a code of conduct. Yep, you know. But that contract, okay, may not be a real contract whereby you're saying that I'll be coming timekeeping. Of course, all of us are guided by a code of conduct that is organization. But for your team, you know your team members. You know how good they are. Like now, if you have a team, there are people who know you go for a meeting, there's someone who's very good at taking notes. So you don't even need to ask who will take notes for us. If you're organizing for these team building activities, for the lunches, for the birthdays, there's someone who's very good at it and they know. And they know, like, if it's for birthdays for January, we're going to celebrate them in the last week of the week. So that's a team contract whereby everybody knows that the last time of the last week of the month, we're going to have this. Then they know, how do we facilitate? There are those that can be facilitated by the organizations, but there are those that we as a team can have our own self-sponsored activities. Then also, do we agree what things are we going to support each other on? Is it everything, or you have to define? So that's what we're talking about, the contract. Because again, if you don't have that contract in a team, then one, it sounds to be abused. Secondly, they look like you don't have order, because today you do this for Irene, tomorrow you do this for Lucy, tomorrow you do this for Adija. Then in the process, what are you doing? You're creating a conflict. So it's very important that you have a contract within. It may be a silent contract, but it's a contract that everybody understands, and of course can be reviewed accordingly based on their needs. Okay. And what can be included is the way in which a team will operate. Okay, whether a team will work in a proactive manner or not, we need to anticipate potential problems. You know, they need to work in such a way that the problems are prevented before they occur. And like I said, if you're doing different things to other people, then you're going to have a conflict. Yeah, so that's a problem. So you're supposed to anticipate these issues and ensure that you work out something that works for everybody and something that will prevent any problem from occurring. Keep other team members informed. Communication, again, very, very virtual. Yeah, communication leads to building up the trust between the team, because the team success is achieved due to mutual cooperation and understanding. But how can people cooperate if they don't understand? How can they understand if you don't communicate? Communication. Because when they don't understand, you're able to offer that clarity. Then focus on what is best for the team as a whole, not what fits me as Irene, not what fits me as a team leader, but what fits everybody. And like I said, when it comes to building teams, there are no titles, you know, so it has to be everybody. Even you are at that point as a team leader, you are an individual, you know, because the interests of the team have to come first. Yeah, beside care has to be taken that the interests of the team and the team players are synergy and they do not clash, you know, because the moment they clash, then the element of teamwork, the element of that, whatever you're trying to do in building the team will be compromised. So what are the rules? we're going to look at the rules for participation and communication. Okay. And we're told these are the following rules, ground rules. And I'm going to request someone to read for us. Who feels like reading for us? It's open. Even if you've read before, don't worry, it's okay. Like we said, in a team, people have different strengths. So don't shy off. So kindly feel free to read. I open it up to any volunteer. So let's best if someone volunteers. So they can read, they can start from here. There are 4 of them, so they can start with either, but they take us to the 4. And after that, they tell us what is their insight or what is their interpretation. Over to you guys. It's open. I don't want to call up someone. So he's going to read for us. Anyone willing to read for us? My namesake, you want to help us read this, please? Okay. Irene, Khadija, can you read this for us? I'll appreciate.
Okay.
Thank
Hello.
you.
Oh.
Hi.
Okay, ground rules for participation in a team. The following are a few ground rules for participation in a team. Be open to new approaches. Be open to new approaches as well as listen to new ideas. The world is changing. The technology is moving too fast. The economy is highly volatile. In such a situation, no organizations can afford to sit on its laurels anymore. Everyone should be given, I'm trying to see which is the second part. Every team member needs to be honest as well as open. This is very important to ensure the success of the team. Sorry, let me just switch off my phone.
No worries.
Okay. Sorry about that. And then everyone should be given the opportunity for equal participation. It is the team members who make up a team. Equal participation as well as equal input from all team members can lead a team to achieve its goals. A team is made of different people with different views and opinions. These opinions may clash with each other, but in a team, everybody's opinion matters. Each suggestion should be taken and noted in order to be referred to later. Okay.
The last one?
A team is made of different people with different views and opinions. These opinions may clash with each other, but in a team, everybody's opinion matters. Each suggestion should be taken and noted in order to be referred to later. I think I've read all of them now.
Thank you. So what is your insight around that, the ground rules? Do they make sense?
Yes, especially in collaborating and involving everyone in the team, so that every member can inputs can be harnessed, even if for now or for later, but to make sure that we are considering every member's inputs and showing that it matters, so that we give members their value.
Okay. Thank you very much, Irene, for that, for the ground rules. I appreciate. Then now we go to the next one. And I think these ground rules, the moment you embrace them, and like we say that when you talk about teams, we are all team members, they're not titles. So even for you as a team leader, the moment you embrace these rules, you can be assured that your team, the people you work with, the people who look upon you as a team leader will also feel, wow, you're part of them. Okay, so we go to the problems of communication. And Khadija, I know you started, so kindly take us through this, if you don't mind.
The following are the most common problems of communication observed in a team. One is hogging, that is talking too much. So there is talking too much. Then two, there is flogging. This is beating dead horse. The third one is frogging. Frogging is jumping from one topic to another. The other one is bogging. This is another problem, which means getting stuck on the issue. And the last one is dead buffaloes. This is tiptoeing around a contentious issue. So these are 5 problems, and I think they are real. Because you can find one person who talks too much and doesn't give others an opportunity to say something. For the beating dead horse, I think that one you will also try to clarify for us. I don't think I can be able to give much on that one. Yeah. Frogging, jumping from one topic to another, of course, is going to be very confusing. Getting stuck on one issue is going to make the whole team feel this is now boring. And then tiptoeing around a contentious issue is also not going to really solve that issue. So for me, the problems are very clear. You'll only help me with number 2.
Beating the dead horse.
Yes.
This is whereby, have you been in a meeting and there's this person who does not talk? It is like you're trying to beat, you're trying to tell them, can you say anything? And for real, you know, they can add value, but they don't want to talk. So it's like you're beating a dead horse, you know. And it's also a challenge in communication because you're like, okay, so what does this person think? And in most cases, you'll find maybe this person, in some forums, they talk. But in this particular one, they're not talking. And that's what I told, in case you have one of a dead horse and you're trying to beat it up, then you need to ensure that you move with it, you know, because maybe they are not participating because it's something that they're not aligned to. So that is basically what my understanding of that. And also like the dead buffaloes, you know, this is tiptoeing around a contentious issue. You know, something is already done and you're there. So I agree with you. These are the problems that we all have. And maybe we can just pause and ask yourself in part of communication, because we're also evaluating ourselves because we also want to be very, very effective team members. Out of these communication problems, which one or how do you rate? Are you a hogger? Do you talk too much? You know, those people, everything, yes, I have something to say in a meeting, which is okay because some people have good ideas, but is it moderated, you know? In case you're having a meeting, you're conducting a meeting, you're conducting a training, are you jumping from one topic and you started with agenda 1, then you're already on AOBs, you know? So these are issues that we need to have the self-evaluation and ask ourselves, how are we doing on these areas, okay? Then we have the ground rules. The ground rules in terms of communication. And the ground rules that we have are as follows. And the first one is to be clear and concise. You have to have clarity as you're communicating with your team or within your team. You can use visual means like drawings, chart, as well as tables in order to facilitate discussion. And I'm sure you've gone like to some offices, especially like the marketing offices. You'll find they'll have like the sale targets, they'll have all those things, you know, because you want to have clarity. You want to ensure that everybody in that team understands what is expected of them so that they don't say, wow, me, I didn't know that I needed to achieve this within this week. This is our target. Keep each discussion on track. Whatever discussion you have, keep it on track. If you're discussing one objective, don't go to objective number 2 before you've already finalize the first objective. Yeah. Don't issue orders or commands to any of the team members. Well, I know someone will ask, if you have to give instructions, how do you delegate? But it says don't issue orders or commands. You know, there's a way you delegate and there's a way you order. You can tell somebody to do the same thing, but in a different way. How you communicate, how do you communicate to this person? Are you communicating like you're shouting to them like they don't understand? Or are you communicating in a very respectable manner? Never warn or threaten any of the team members, you know? At wherever you wait, it's end of year. You not get your bonus, you know? You're threatening people. And you're supposed to be communicating to them. Then you're also told never respond with sarcasm to any of the team members. And at times, some of these things you may say thinking it's a joke may have an effect on the person. So try as much as possible not to respond in a sarcastic manner. Do not preach to any of the team members. Well, this is also debatable. And you know, some team leads who are pastors, okay, pastors in quotes, and when something goes wrong, they will start preaching and maybe quoting. With all respect, I'm also a Christian, but maybe not maybe I don't believe in your religion, so don't come and preach to me, you know, because you all have challenges, but how do you mentor that person? Because what we encourage is to coach them. You know, you did wrong on this. What can you do to become better? So you're not there to give them like I'm someone, I would say, you know, like it's more I'm someone like, you know, should have done this. Don't preach to them, but coach them and mentor them. Yeah. Don't assume, instead ask and listen actively to understand each team member. Maybe you're assuming a situation. Instead of assuming, because you'll assume and maybe even make a decision. Instead of assuming, ask them, listen, and understand what they have. Never label or judge any of the team members. We're very good at judging, but how does it feel when you're judged? And what is a criteria of judging? So try as much as possible in your communication, not to judge each other, to say, I will let, you know, mchochaji, you know, there are those, you will always have those interesting titles. But in some instances, they really break the spirit of teamwork. First understand, then be understood to apply to all team members. First understand. Get to understand the people, get to understand your team, then after that, they're going to understand you. Okay? And clear is that we're talking about clarity. I think this is a summary. And I've really re-emphasized the need of ensuring that there's clarity in the roles that they have. Let not have conflict in our roles. You call Irene, you give her this responsibility. You call Lucy, you give her this responsibility. You call John, you give her the same responsibility. Then I'm busy working on something. Then when I go to it, I'm like, oh, there's this assignment. I'm like, oh, I've also been given the same assignment. I mean, you bring a lot of conflict. So try as much as possible to be clear, to have clarity on the roles that you have. And as a leader, how do you ensure this clarity is that you need to have the ability to give clear assignment in each work areas, such as follows. So this is how you're going to enable your clarity or clarification of the roles that you're giving. One, the work methods. Each team member needs to understand the leader's expectation regarding required work methods as well as procedure. This is in regards to a job or the project. Do they understand your expectations? I've given you this. These are our goals. We set the SMART. We know the SMART objectives. But do they understand your expectations? Or they're just going to do it for the sake of doing it, you know? So let them understand your expectations and what you expect from them. Like for us, when we started this training, it's like, let us engage. My expectation is that as a team, let us engage, you know? And I'm really happy that we're engaging, yeah? The time frames, do they understand everything they say? If you don't have a time frame, if you give me an assignment and there's not a time frame, then I can do it within a minute, I can do it within 5 days, I can do it within a year. Yeah, and that's why you'll always have time frames. Like even for this training, we have our time frame, you know. So it is very vital for you as a team leader to have and understand and give your team members due dates for the completion of their projects or the assignment that you've given them. The work responsibilities. Each member needs to be clear. Each member roles is to be clearly understood when they are assigned to a given job responsibility. This is very important. Else, too much time will be spent due to wrong communication reaching the team members. Do they understand their responsibility? This is the objective that I'm not supposed to achieve, but what are my responsibilities? Maybe my responsibility is to maybe write something, communication or draft or something. Do I understand that, you know? Do I understand that responsibility? Because the moment I don't understand it, then I'll be assuming this other person is doing it, yet I'm supposed to be doing it. And once I know what I'm supposed to do, maybe it's my work to file, you know? Do I know that that is my responsibility? That after everything has been done, I'm going to be filing? Do I know that I'm the one who's going to prepare that report? Yeah, because the moment you don't do that, the moment nobody's responsible, then it's left to everyone and no one. And of course, that becomes a recipe of disaster and conflict. Because after the end, people are like, no, me, I thought Irene was supposed to do it. And you bring a lot of confusion. Okay, the customer and the supplier interface. We need to understand the leader's expectations while dealing with all kinds of supplier problems. Similarly, the customer complaints or requests also need to be handled by each team member as per the organization policy. After all, effective relationships have to be built within, with other work groups in order to achieve full potential of the team. Very, very important. And I always tell people, we have both internal customers and external customers. And internal customers are the customers within ourselves. If you're the same, with the same department, we are with our own customers, you know. Finance, if I'm in human resource, finance, when they come to us, they are our internal customers. If I come to you, even if we are the same in HR, I come to you, I am your customer, you know. How do you treat me? Because some of us, as team leaders and organizations, we are very good at thinking about the external customer. How about the internal customer? So let's ensure that all customers are treated well, because you're told a happy customer is a business, you know, and a happy customer will come more and more. If it's finance and they come to you and you treat them nicely, tomorrow and you want your budget to be approved, it will be very easy. But if they come to HR and you are like, okay, they look and they're like, you'll just come and find me in my office, you know, because you've not treated them like a customer. You've treated them like, you know, finance. So we need to embrace the principles of customers, both internal and external. Same to suppliers, you know. If you want stationery, maybe you have your store. That is your supplier, they supply you with. So let's not always look at these big words like it's external. We also have the same internally. Okay, the work priorities. This is whereby all of us have a lot of work, but it's very important that we understand which job takes priority at that particular moment. Do you have a things to do list? I see people putting sticky notes, you know, because that's the only way, because what works for me, maybe for me, sticky notes works. There's somebody, the things to do list work. There's someone, maybe they need to do reminders on their phone. Yeah, so you have to understand which takes priority. And for you as a team leader, since you've already defined, it is someone who will be like, by the way, based on what the team lead told us, then this seems to be taking priority. Even as you're communicating this goal or this assignment, you're telling people, by the way, we should ensure that we give this priority. Then people will work towards that, okay? Performance expectations, very key. Understand the expectations of the desired outcomes. Because the moment I understand the desired outcomes, then I'm going to work towards ensuring that I achieve that. The resources. Yeah, each team member has limited resources, and it is the aim of us to achieve a maximum with the minimal resources. Do we know how to embrace the resources? Do we have a control mechanism in place? Or it's open for all, it's free for all. So it's very, very important. And who is ensuring, who is monitoring, who is evaluating, yeah? That's when we all understand that there's importance in controlling, then we're able to make decisions based on the available resources. Good. So I hope you're clear up to there. Then I'll go now as we're almost getting to the end. So I want us to understand and explain the role of a team leader. We now go to the team leader. I said everyone was saying, let us all be in teams, you're all equal. But at the end of the day, we have a team leader, because you're told every flock has a leader. So what is your role? Yeah. So the following are the key points that we need to keep in mind for us to be good team leaders. One, and you'll find out that this is more of a summary of, as you're coming to conclude, it's more of a summary of the things that we've been going through, is one that's as a team leader is one who sets a goal and objective for the team. Do you have an objective for your team? The leader alone should not set the goal. Suggestions should be invited from one and all, and issues must be discussed on an open forum. As you're setting the goal, do we involve? We talked about the building a sense of belonging. These people feel like we're part of this objective, or that is just Irene's idea. Because what happens is the moment you don't involve them, then they look at it like your idea, your goal. And they're like, let's just do it for the sake of doing it to make the boss happy. But the moment you involve them, they're like, wow, we said we are going to achieve this, because they all want to be winners. They all want to achieve. A team leader must make his team members well aware of their roles and responsibility. He should assign duties as per their interest and specialization for them to accept the challenge willingly, never impose things on them. Never impose anything. Of course, you have a duty, you have a job, but how do you do it? How do you implement it? How do you delegate? Because for me, it's more of how you delegate some of these responsibilities. Do you just impose on someone? Because there's a way you'll tell somebody something and they do it very willingly, and especially when you know their strengths, and whatever responsibility that you're giving based on the strengths that they have. A team leader must be impartial. Everybody in your team is equal. Yeah. Don't treat some like they're more special than others, because the moment you do that, then you build a lot of negativity and conflict within your team members, and you're the same person. It's like you're trying to build a team and also breaking the team. So ensure that you're impartial. Of course, and as a team leader, you'll feel maybe there's somebody who maybe performs better, but don't make it so obvious. Manage it in a way that everybody feels they are equal. One should motivate your team members, motivate them to perform better, appreciate them, and never make fun of anyone's mistakes. Instead, correct them in a polite way. Even if you're going to make a joke out of it, let it be a willingly joke, but don't make fun out of it, because what you're going to do is that you're going to demotivate this person. You're going to work on their self-esteem. Next time they're going to be afraid to make mistakes. Yet we all know we are what we are. We learn because of the mistakes that we've done. And I always tell people, most of the greatest things that people have achieved is because of a mistake that they learned. It's because of a mistake that they did, and they learn from that. So kindly, let's not criticize, let's not make fun of people's mistakes, because the mistakes that we make, they are our, what do I say? They're like the stepping stone to greatness that is supposed to come. Encourage the team members to help each other, avoid playing politics or provoking individuals to fight. A team leader must be easily available. Like I said, like Robin Sharma told us in our once we listen to the video, he said, don't be too busy for your team, make time for your team, because you are who you are because of your team. Okay. Be a mentor to your team members. Do you mentor them? Do you own your mistakes when things go wrong, or do you play the blame game or point fingers? Things have gone wrong, it's your team. But when it's success, when there are good things, you're there saying, wow, I did it. But when things go wrong, you start pointing fingers on other people. Take responsibility. A leader should take the initiative of bringing the team members together. It is your role as a team leader to ensure that your team is together, Look for ways, look for icebreaker exercises that will help you understand your team better. The team leader is a phase of every team as well as the organization. Therefore, discipline is a must. And this way you're told as a team leader, preach water and drink water, but don't preach water and drink wine, okay? Because you're expected to give direction to your team. without which then your team is going to fail. We are also told it's a duty of a mentor to monitor your team's performance on a regular basis. Give them feedback. When things are not working, tell them. Don't wait for a whole quarter to go. When things have now gone haywire and you're like, you know what? Ever since January, you've been, yet in December. Monitor performance and give on regular basis so that you don't get shocked when you're expecting this and you get that, okay? If a team member comes to you to discuss their personal problems, lend them a sympathetic and empathetic ear. Try to help them. Keep the things to yourself and do not escalate it to the management. A very, 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 very key thing. I come to you, I have a personal issue. Then the next thing, I'm being called by the HR director. I'm like, oh, I was told you have this issue. Surely, and you want trust within your team? That is going to be a big challenge. Excuse me. Don't ask too many favors from your team members. Adhere to the rules. Like the contract that we talked about, the team contract, the code of conduct that defines your team. Try and live by it. Because the moment you start asking for so many favors, then it becomes very difficult for you not to affirm your authority, because they'll be like, you're always asking for a favor from me, so why do you expect much from me? And it is going to compromise the level of discipline in your team. Okay. So we are told that a team is responsible for it. This is just a tip for us to take home, that a team is responsible for its own success or failures. Very true. As a combined unit, the team also has roles to play. It's not just the team members who have roles and responsibility. So as a team, you're combined. You have your roles. So imagine if everyone takes their roles as supposed to be, then all you can get is success. Then if people don't take their roles as supposed to be, then you have recipe for failure. Okay, then now we go to the second last one. And this is why team fail. And I'm sure this is things that we know. And maybe I'll just want to ask before I project. Why do you think team fails? Why do you think most of the people talk about teams? However, some teams will still fall. Why do they fail? Anyone who want to try? You can say it, you can type on the chat. My interaction on the chat. Why do teams fail? Why do teams fail? Anyone who want to try?
I think
Yes.
one of the reasons that teams fail is when the purpose of that team is not very clear to the group. That is one way. The objective of the team is not well communicated to the entire team, so the vision is lost. Team members are there, but they really don't understand why they're there.
True, absolutely, agreed, thank you. A lack of trust and clear objectives, very true, Irene. Lack of trust and clear objectives, and also lack of purpose. And you said that then they lose the vision. Very, very, very true. Okay. And like you see from our presentation, that has been captured. So these are the reasons that will make the teams fail. And they have been, for purposes of this training, they have been categorized into 5. So we have the environmental issues, we have the goals, we have the roles, we have the process, and we have the relationships. So we'll start with the first one, that is environmental. And this is whereby the team members may be placed at different locations, making it difficult for them to meet regularly or frequently. Hence, a solution is to be found to resolve this issue. The beauty is that once you know a problem, then you need to ask yourself, what can I do to ensure that this does not happen? Of course, the other issue in terms of the environment is whereby the team is not given adequate resources in order to do its job. Hence, team members are not able to perform adequately due to lack of resources. The environment. Have you provided the resources? You expect me to be preparing a presentation, but I don't even have a laptop. I don't even have a computer. So how am I going to do it? Yeah, I don't even have internet. Yet you expect me to do some research on some assignment. Team efforts are not being recognized. Yeah, I worked overnight. I didn't go for holiday working on something. Then you come and you're my team lead. You don't even appreciate what I did. You just trash what I did. Really? What will happen the next time you give me an assignment? I just do it for the sake of doing it, you know? So let's appreciate, because like we said, one of the key things about team building, winning teams is appreciation. And of course, that comes with recognition. If you don't recognize me, what I do, everybody, all of us want to be recognized. And I tell people, the best way of recognizing someone is just by their name. If you tell me, hi, Irene, already I know you've recognized me. But when you say hi, it's like you don't even know my name, you know? But when you say, hi, Irene, and I'm sure there's a difference, right? So the first point of recognition is, do you talk to people? Do you address people by their names? Because there's always the beauty when you hear your name being called out. You know, they say it's like music. And even when somebody is really down and you're like, hi, Irene, you know, there's a way they just, you know, you wake, there's a way it just excites you. So kindly, do you recognize your team members? Or you don't know their names, you don't know what you call Irene, she's supposed to be Lucy, and you're like, oh, sorry, I keep on calling you this. Of course, there are those small mistakes that will be there, but it is very, very important to recognize people and what they do. And I've given you a tip. The first thing of recognizing, if you can, address people by their names. And not just by their names, but the name that they prefer. And you'll find like in most organizations, even like you're doing your team contract, like we say some of these team contract rules are silent. You can even say, what are your pet names? What name do you prefer to be called? Maybe like for me, if I'm Irene, I say, maybe I want to be called Rennie, I want to be called this. And next time you call me, hi, Rennie, I feel good because, you know, it's part of the team contract. So kindly, let's start recognizing people by starting first by knowing their name and addressing them like their name, not like, hi, you know, no one is called you, okay? Aha, the other one is goals, very clearly articulated, yeah? People don't understand. Therefore, there's no participation in setting the goals, so they don't know what you're talking about. It is Greek to them. They try to look at this and like, so where are we headed? What is the relevance of this goal? You know, because we just came up and told them, effective tomorrow, this and this and this. And I tell people, especially when you have this change, you want to change something, try and involve everyone. Get their buy-in. Because the moment you don't get it, the moment the goals are not effectively communicated, then people will just do their own things. Okay? The other one is the roles. Do people understand their roles? Responsibilities of the team are poorly defined, you know? Therefore, there's no commitment. You come and like, so who is supposed, and three people are looking at each other because nobody knows what is supposed to be done. So, and there's no clear leader. No clear leader is identified. So leadership is virtual in any team. A good leader outlines the strategy and charts the path to reach the goal. You as a good team leader, you know the strategy, you know what you want to achieve. And that path, you walk that path with your team members by setting goals, by setting rules, by setting objectives, you know. Yeah. So you need to ensure that you define the rules and that every member indulges in the power place for authority and control. Because everybody feel like I'm the boss when you don't give clarity. And this becomes a problem because the attitude will be affected. Yeah. Members refuse to recognize their interdependence and act as if they're independent. This will lead to failure of the team because the roles are not defined. So I'll do what I feel. Today I feel I want to come at 9, I'll come at 9. Tomorrow I feel I want to come at 8, I'll come at 8. Tomorrow I feel I want to work at home. Yet maybe you don't even have a work from home policy. I just wake up, I'm like, so you need to define the roles, you know? I need to know what I'm supposed to do. You've gone to meetings and you're there seated. They've not even defined who is the MC. Then the person who has convened is like, oh, by the way, we need somebody. And they start pointing, can you help us with this? Can you help us with this? And you find in most cases, if I didn't know about it earlier, and somebody like, you know, I've just been told I need to do this. I just been told I need to, and somebody continues saying that. Why do they say that? Because they feel in their psychology, it's somewhere in their subconscious that I wasn't supposed to do this. I wish they only gave me more time, you know? And they keep on saying, if I had more time, I would have done this. And in most cases, you'll find it's because the role is not well defined. So ensure that you define the roles in the most objective way. The process, when you have no processes to make decisions, especially when we are in crisis. Therefore, a case of decision-making becomes dominated on one person. That leads to poor commitment of the team because they know at the end of the day, even if I do what, and I have no responsibility in the process. Whereby communication is one way. It is only me who can say. It's only me telling you to do this. It's do that, do this. They will never have a comprehensive two-way communication. Meetings are very unproductive with the issues unresolved, which implies that poor planning has been done. Meetings cover trivial versus significant issues as a way to achieve goals. It's not clear. You've gone to meetings and you pick your notebook and you ask yourself, really? For 3 hours? That's all we had to do? And you feel wasted. Yeah? Because there's no process, there's no agenda. You just go in and it's like, I have two or three things I want us to discuss. And because you don't have an agenda, if somebody distracts you, the meeting takes a totally different angle. And when you're leaving this and you remember, oh, I think this meeting I'd call it because of 1, 2, 3. People are exhausted. Have a process. If it's recruitment, do you have a process for that? Yeah. Do I know that if today, if I get these applications, this is what I'm going to do? Or do I just wake up and decide tomorrow we are going to recruit, I recruit 5 people? Because the moment you lack processes, then you can be sure we're told when you have no process or you have no plan, then you're planning to fail. Okay, relationships, very, very, very important. How do you build relationships? When you don't have good relationships, then the team is going to fail. Because one, members will be unwilling to be identified with the team. Yeah? There'll always be conflict between the team members, as well as severe personality conflicts. Very, 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 very key and very dangerous. Because you understand in a team, people have different personalities. We have this very strong personalities. We have the reds, we have the greens. So in case you've not worked towards building a relationship, you can imagine what happens to those people who don't talk much. Maybe them, they just reserve. And this strong person who seems to just be bulldozing everybody, who seems to just be a bulldozer, you know, and will always be competitive. So you have to ensure that as a team, your relationships are positive. You build your relationships, you build the trust. Because the moment you don't build relationships within your team, then that is a disaster for failure. And then the final one is explain how to prevent fallouts in a team. And I'm sure this is all that we have been discussing. And we are reminded that it's essential that the team members, gel with each other and are willing to help each other, because this way we're going to avoid the conflicts, okay? And one of the things that you're told is that team members must not interfere with each other's work because one, the roles have been well defined. Let's respect our colleagues' privacy. Let's not keep on pestering others to find out what they're up to. That those people is like, Irene today, don't look happy. Irene, what's up? You know, don't. Just leave people to be who they are. Never criticize anyone or make fun of their team members. I think we did discuss that earlier. And if you don't agree to their view of points, sit with them and try to come up with a common solution. Don't escalate the issue immediately to your supervisors without discussing among yourselves. It feels like a betrayal. Something is not working well with our team. And instead of us discussing or having our housekeeping issues, you escalate them. And you're like, really? Did you have to do that? Why couldn't you just come back to us, you know? So let's try as much as possible to avoid this, and we're going to ensure that the conflicts are well managed, because conflicts are the ones that lead to fallouts in the team. Whereby you'll find that you're in a team and there's one person, if you're going for a team building activity, they'll always give an example, and an excuse. If you're going for lunch, they'll always say, maybe I'm fasting. And maybe they're not fasting, they're just saying it for the sake of, they don't want to be part of the team. Yeah. Trust. Do you trust each other? If yesterday I told you something and you went and told everybody about it, I'm not going to trust you. Yeah. Avoiding taking favors from anyone as they may expect you to share a secret with them. One should not promote too much personal friendship at workplace. It's good to have workplace friends, but up to what limit? Does it affect your work? Try as much as possible to be professional in your approach and keep professional and personal life separate. Even if we went to school together and it's work, let us manage work as it's supposed to be managed. Let's not assume and just take everything for granted, okay? Don't read your team members' emails or even open his notebook or her notebook or diary. It might contain some information which he does not want to share. And for me, I think that is very bad manners, you know? But for me, if I find you on my notebook or in my desk, you know, some people will come on your desk, they're flipping papers, you know? I don't think, unless, okay, maybe you may be looking for a document, and there's always, in most places, in most offices, there'll always be a general point whereby this is my entry, this is my outro, anyone can. But if on this other side, whereby it's my personal space, if I find you on my personal space, then now, trust me, I'll be like, I mean, what's wrong with you? And if I come, I find you once, twice, I'll be like, I don't trust Irene anymore. So let me just keep off. So that also brings a lot of follow-up, because I'll be like, who are you snitching on me? You know, what are you up to? Yeah. We are told don't spread rumors about others. Don't provoke your team members to fight. Avoid being partial. Don't do favors. Don't criticize the other person just because you don't like them. Don't give priority to your personal interest. Whereby I don't like Irene, so if it's something to do with Irene, I will criticize, I will shut down that point. So what will happen to Irene? I am going to fall out. I'm like, okay, my ideas are not, and I've just become a dead horse. I'm in a meeting and you're there, you're talking, I just look at you, you ask me a question, I say yes or no. You know those yes and no answers? Yet you as a team leader, you're the one, or the members of the team are the ones that have made me to be that dead horse, okay? Because maybe you criticize everything I say, you're like, I didn't know your points never, you know, never. So what will happen? I will just fall out from that team, okay? One should not tamper with any information that is important to the team. And this comes out around, especially if you have a shared folder, whereby maybe you put all your shared information and somebody goes and tampers with it. So for you, you're very sure what you put on that shared folder. And you go there, you're like, so what happened, you know? Somebody has even deleted it. Yet, you do not even inform the author of the data. One should avoid fights within the team, as it's always better to work as a family. I tell people that when in the workplace, that is your family. Embrace that family. Avoid fights. And when they come, when you have conflict, let's resolve them in the best way possible. Think twice before you speak. Not easy, but at times you're encouraged. Because some people will say things and you're like, oh my goodness, Irene, did you really have to say that? Yeah. So, and that's why we encourage to ensure that our speech do not hurt any of our team members. So how do you practice? So let's now practice all that you have learned about team building. So now this is a practice, and this now we are looking at both the module 1 and module 2. So I'm sure all of us have a pen and a paper. And this is whereby we do the self-evaluation. And I will just ask the questions. Then you can write them down, answer them. Then if time allows, I will request somebody to tell us the answers. So the first question that we need to ask ourselves, what was your role in the team? Think of a team, your workplace. Was there a team leader? What was his role and how well did he fulfill his role? Yeah, because here we're considering a situation whereby you've been part of a team. Were there any team members that did not get along with you or did not like you? What was your attitude while being part of that team? What would you consider yourself? Would you consider yourself a good team player? Why? Or why not? What can you improve in yourself to become an excellent team player? These are questions I would want us to individually answer. And if time allows, we'll come back to them and look at them. And if one is willing to share, then we can share. Yeah. So we have a case study. And this case study is about a guy called Nick. And I'm going to read the case study. Then I will expect we contribute or we engage with the questions so that we can see where we are. And like I always say in this training, I'm not a trainer, but I come in to moderate. We moderate our great ideas and we learn from each other. So allow me to read the case study. And it says it's about Nick Johnson, works as a project manager in a L&D department. He has 4 subordinates directly reporting to him. Nick always maintains a distance from them and never misses an opportunity to criticize or make fun of his team members. His team members hate working under Nick's leadership. Nobody is ready to help each other, and everyone works individually. Nick's team never achieves its target within the stipulated time, and there is a lot of negativity in the team. Question number 1. What should Nick do to become a better manager and manage his team well? Members, let's engage. You can tell us by unmuting, or you can put it on the chat. What should Nick do to become a better manager? I'm waiting for those good answers. Let's interact. What should Nick do to become a better manager? I'm waiting to hear something.
I think Nick should build a more cohesive team by looking for ways to get closer to his team members, associating with them and closing up the distance that he has developed between him and them, so that he can be close to them and open up the communication, especially. So he should also stop criticizing and making fun of them, and start making them feel valuable to the team, maybe by starting to appreciate them more and maybe acknowledging them more instead of criticizing them, and also expressing gratitude, whatever it is that he can do to make his team members and motivate them. Yeah.
Awesome. Feel like clapping. Thank you, Irene, for that. Yes, you've told us what he needs to do. He needs to build his team, stop criticizing them, have an open communication channel, appreciate, recognize them, stop criticizing them. Very true. Thank you so much, Irene, for that. I see something on the chat.
This is Khadija.
Yes, Khadija.
For me, I think, first of all, he needs to establish the ground rules, because he's breaking the ground rules by criticizing. Criticizing is one of the ways that, so he needs to establish the ground rules back. That's the first thing he should do. Then 2, he should now clearly define everybody's roles and the responsibilities of everybody. And then after that is now trying to build trust of the team through team building activities. So that is one way that Nick can actually sort this problem.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Khadija, for real. have ground rules. You know, we talked about the contract, the team contract, because it defines what are our ground rules. And like I said, some can be written, others can be silent. Yeah. Because the moment you define your ground rules, one of the things will be don't criticize in public. Okay. Clearly define the roles and responsibilities. Just to beef up on what Irina said, you know, ensure that I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Then that way you're going to build trust on with your team. And thank you, Agnes is saying that he should work as a family member without criticism. Absolutely, I agree that. Let him be part of that family. Yeah, not like them and us, you know. They're there, I am here, I am the boss. He's supposed to embrace everybody. And that can only come up if he embraces all the things that we've said, have a purpose, have a vision. Because the moment you don't have a vision, then what happens? He doesn't even know where he's headed to. That's even when he gets this project, whatever he's doing, nobody appreciates or nobody understands him. So it's very, very important. So thank you so much, guys, for participating on that. So now we go to the second question, which I think Khadija has tried to give us 1 or 2 points. That is, what should Nick do to build trust and bring the members of the team close together? And she told us that he can come up with team building activities. You know, like we say, those activities, there's a way, you know, it helps. You do like you are blindfolded, you know, you feel, wow, you mean I can trust Irene? I can trust, you know, so let him come up with building activities, team building activities. Anything else that he can do to build the trust? Feel free to add. You can put on the chat or you can just unmute and tell us. Kindly, let's participate. It also excites me as a facilitator or moderator for this great session. Anyone who'd want to say something or add? Because like you can see, the 2 questions is like they're interrelated, right? So we can say like whatever we said in terms of creating the vision, because you see the moment somebody creates a vision and they're selling the vision to you, they're selling that vision because they have confidence in you. And in the process, you start feeling, wow, I think this person believes I can do it. So it can also try to build onto that trust, okay? The other thing maybe I can just add up is part of it is ensuring that we talked about having the open communication. Does he have meetings with his team? Does he get to understand his team? Does he get to share? Because maybe even him, he may be having some frustrations from the team. So do they have those meetings whereby he's able to give feedback? He's able to tell them, this is what I expect from you, okay? Then that way people are able to build trust on each other. So with that, thank you guys. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate that. So now we'll go to, this is more, as we're coming to an end, is more of a summary for what we did last week and this week. And I will, like you see, it's everything that we did last week. So I will request someone to read for us as I go on. So I will read, this is a summary of what we're going to discuss. So when we go to the next, then someone will be reading for us. So in terms of team building, we're going to look at the stages, just a summary to remind ourselves or a recap. We look at the stages of team development. We're going to look at the team building exercises, the types of teams, the roles in the team, and the team models. Yeah. So with that, I want to go to the first one. And I request someone to read for us. These are the stages of development. And if you can remember what they are, kindly, it's more of a recap. Over to you.
I can take the stages of team development.
Lovely.
So the first stage when you're developing a team is forming. When you're forming the team, that's the first stage. The second stage is storming. Third stage, norming, followed by performing, then adjourning. So I wasn't there in class 1, but I want to attempt.
Please
so forming,
do.
I think this is when you now choose the members. When you're forming, you pick the right members, ensure that you have everybody in different what do you call it? They're diverse. The membership is diverse, and you try to put them together. In storming is when you're just trying to like put the groups together. Storming. That one I'm hesitant, but you will put me. Then forming. Norming is when now you start putting the ground rules and everything is in order. Then now you work on whatever the team is supposed to do, that is performing. And finally, you adjourn. Adjourning means that you have finalized on what the team can accomplish, what the team was supposed to do. So over to you, Irene, and tell me whether I got that.
Oh, sorry, I was talking on mute. Thank you very much. And my rating, that is 98%. So you did it very well. So for real, what you've told us is true, the forming. This is whereby people are coming together. Like you see, we'll see later as you're doing the summary, we have different types of teams. So maybe these are a task team. So you have an assignment that you need to undertake. So you'll have the forming. So you have people from different, maybe finance, HR. So you form a group. Then we have the second one, that is the storming. And this is whereby people are from they have different views. So it's like a storm. So this is where you conflict, you can't agree on everything. Everybody has they have their ideas. You are not even clear about the objective. This one interprets this. So there's a lot of stormy, it's a stormy thing, but that is part of forming, because that way you're able to pick people's strengths. You're able to now manage the conflicts. You're able to now agree that for real, these are the objectives that we have. And you're like, by the way, we need somebody who will be the chair. At this point, that's where you have the chair, you have the treasurers. You have the person who will be taking the notes, you have somebody who will be making the presentations. And so after the storm, after the storm, there's calm. So after all that back and forth, this objective, what is your understanding? I'm like, this is how I understand this assignment. The other person is like, no. For me, I understand this the other way. So you fight, or not fighting as physical, fighting in a positive way towards one goal. After the storm, then now you normalize. Now you're clear. This is the way we want to go. These are our objectives. This is a vision. These are our timelines. This is what we need to do. We'll be meeting like monthly. We'll be meeting after every 2 weeks, because this assignment needs to be ready within 3 months. Then, of course, after the norming, you go to the performance. You perform. This is what we need to do. You perform, and you're able to execute whatever you're supposed to be doing. And lastly, like you rightly said, Khadija, is that you're done after the task is over. So that's why I said you scored 98%. You got it right. Thank you very, very much for that. I appreciate. So we go to the next one. Any question on that before I go to the next one? Any person would require any clarification? Kindly you can put on the chat, or you can ask me. I'll be more than willing to engage. The team building exercises, who'd want to read for us that? Who'd want to take us through? Team building exercises. Anyone would want to volunteer?
Okay, let me also do that one.
Lovely.
So on team building exercises, we have the team building exercises themselves, and we talked about some of them. Then we had the icebreaker activities, and this one we said is good during opening of a meeting. When you want people to now start engaging, you can have ice-breaking activities to just let the group now start talking. Then we have the teamwork exercises. You can put people in probably groups so that they can work in teams. And finally, we have the communication exercises, where people can see whether the message gets to the person who's supposed to the receiver in the form that it was set out. So these are the team building and the team building exercises that can be done in an organization.
Thank you.
So that's a summary.
Thank you very much. Appreciated. Right, like you said, you've very well articulated it. Thank you. So we go to the next one. This is the types of teams. And maybe I can volunteer to do this. So on the type of teams, we have the permanent teams. These are the teams that are, for those who were with us last week, these are the teams that maybe like HR. You are there you're a team. So you work in the human resource function, you work in the farm, in the finance. So that is a permanent team. We have the temporal teams. So these are teams that will be created temporarily, maybe to undertake a specific responsibility. We have the task force. And last week we had someone who gave us a very, very good example of the task force, whereby there was a challenge and they were put together to come up and look for solutions. So that is a task force. And after we've gotten the solution, then the team is disbanded or is adjourned. We have the committees. We know, like even in the workplaces, we'll have a committee. We'll have the OSHA committee. We'll have the HR committee. We'll have the finance and administration committee. We have the budgeting committee. So those are also part of the teams. And all these teams will have very well clear, defined TORs. We have the organization of the workforce, all of us as an organization, we are teams, we're a team, and that's what you'll find, like most organizations will say, we are a team, we work as a team. And we find most of these senior, like they see when they're giving, like now this is the time of the end of year parties, like we as a team, this is what we've been able to achieve over this period. So that's what happened. Then we have the self-managed teams, which are people like you've been given an assignment and you're managing yourself, but you have very clear TORs. We have the cross-functional teams. This is about you work with functions, finance working with HR and marketing, and you're all working towards a specific objective. And in most cases, especially when you're doing like the budgeting, you'll find all of you will be put together and you work together. We have the virtual teams like the one we have today. We are a virtual team. We are learning virtually. We are meeting through virtual. And nowadays, I think it's become the order of the day. Most organizations, instead of having physical meetings, you'll have virtual teams. And it's very good because even if somebody maybe is in Kisumu, the other one is in Nigeria, the other one is in Ghana, the other one is in the US, wherever you are able to interact, you're able to work, you're able to have meetings, you're able to execute business through virtual. Then we have problem-solving teams, whereby this team has been formed with the main purpose of solving a specific problem. So those are the kind of teams that we have. Like I said, key is to know that each team has its own TORs, and those are the terms of reference that they need to achieve. Okay, the team models. These are the team models that we have. Anyone who'd want to take us through this? The team models? Anyone?
Okay, I can do the team model.
Yes, please.
So I wasn't here during the team models, but as a summary of the models, we have the first one is the traditional model.
Yeah.
Then we have the team spirit model, the cutting edge model, the task force model. This one I think I can relate with, the task force one. And then the cyber team model. So those are the 5 models of teams. So Irene, just kindly. Chanua.
Who was in last week? Let me see if you guys were listening to me last week. Who was in last week and who can try? Like I said, in adult learning, there is no right or wrong answer. All answers are right. Who can try on the traditional model? Anyone who want to try? Okay. For those who are with us, what we did is that these are the models that we were looking at in terms of the gurus in team. So we had the traditional model. This is whereby in terms of team building, just coming together and having a team. And like you realize, some of these things have evolved over time. So this was just the traditional model whereby people were just together, like there's really no definition of what you're doing. So you're just a team and you're supposed to achieve a certain objective. And maybe to just say that in the traditional one is, if you look at maybe even like in the HR, there we have evolved. We started from being personnel management, then now we are calling us those human resources, human capital. Now you find in most organizations are even saying instead of human, they're saying people, they're calling the head of people, you know. So those are the it has evolved. So these were the traditional model where people just came in for a team, as a team, nothing much. Then now we have the next one is the team spirit, whereby now everybody is, the hype, the hype of we want to achieve, like the footballers when you're playing football and everybody wants to ensure that our spirit is not diluted. So you want to ensure that the spirit is really up there. We have the cutting edge model. And this model is whereby, like we said, it's defined by what is our cutting edge. We want to be leaders in, let's say like in training, we want to be leaders in training. So that will be our focus. So everyone in this team, regardless of what we do, that is what we want to focus on. The task force model, that is very clear. What is a task that we have, that we need to understand, that we need to execute? The cyber team, this is also another model, which now, and I think especially after the COVID, has really picked up. And I think that is a model that we're even using today, because it's more of the online, whereby now we're taking advantage of the technology to be able to build up teams. And you realize we're able to really achieve the same thing that we'd have achieved in the traditional model are the same things that we're still achieving in the cyber kind of team model. So that is just a brief of how the summary, or a summary of the models. However, more information, once we share the presentation on our website, then you'll be able to interact further. So the next one, so a summary of what we did was a role. I think this we've done today. So who'd want to read for us, please? On the roles in a team, all of us have a role. And also even in this cyber, like I said, these are cyber model. So we have a role. So I'm kindly requesting that one person reads for us and gives us their insight on the same. Anyone can read, even if you've read, it's okay.
In a team,
Yes.
so in a team, you can either be a linker, you can either be a creator, you can be a promoter, an assessor, you can be the one organizing, the organizer, you can be a producer, you can be the one who controls, the controller, you can be the one who maintains, the maintainer, and the advisor. So these are the different roles that you can play in a team, summarized in that diagram.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I think the role for us to ask ourselves is that whatever team we are in, what is our role? And key to note is that you can have all these roles at different times, because there are times you will be the maintainer. There's a time you'll be called upon to be the advisor. There's a time you're the controller. There's a time you're the organizer. Yes, so let's look at where our strengths are and be able to execute our roles accordingly for the sake of ensuring that we're building strong teams. Okay, so this is just a glossary. So just for us to understand some of the words. Okay, so as I say, someone who evaluates. Cyber relating technology, like I said earlier. Committee is a special group delegated to consider some matter. Icebreaker is a beginning that relaxes a tense or formal atmosphere. Very, very important. And like Khadija has told us, is that when we start our meetings, any engagement, always have an icebreaker. It really helps. Even people when they're so quiet, they're so, it really helps vibe up people. So let's always embrace it. A permanent, I think this is what it said, continue and do without making marked change in status or condition of place. And I think this is what we're talking about, the permanent teams. And that's if you're in HR for this specific period. The problem solving is about process involved in solving a problem. A team, this is a cooperative unit of 2 or more than 2 people. Team spirit is the spirit of a group that makes the members want a group to succeed, like I said in football, all of you know, you just vibe. Everybody is like, cheering. You want us to get it, so because you're all geared towards succeeding. Yeah. Task force is a semi-permanent unit created to carry out a continuing task. And with that, I want to tell you congrats, because you have successfully completed both modules on team building. So I want to appreciate you. I want to appreciate everyone for your participation, for listening to me, for the engagement. And I have picked a lot, I've learned a lot. And like I always say, that we learn from each other. So with that, I go to the Q&A. So in case there's any question, any clarification that you'd want, I'll be more than happy to respond. Otherwise, I really, really thank you, all of you, for taking us through, for being part of me, for being part of this whole process. I really appreciate it. And I believe from here, you're going to be very, very good team leaders, good team members, and you're going by embracing the strategies of effective team building. Over to you guys. Any questions, any comments, any clarification? Over to you.
Irene, mine, this is Hadija. Mine is just a word of appreciation. We want to also appreciate you. The class has been very clear. Everything has been very enjoyable. The objectives were clear. And for me, I'm just appreciating you for this. Mine is just a comment, but no questions.
Okay. Thank you so much, Khadija. Thanks for the appreciation. I receive it. And thank you so much. Let's continue engaging. It feels good. Like I said, it feels good to be appreciated. So asante sana. And I hope that our expectations have actually been met. And for me, that is a real plus. So thank you so much for reaffirming that to me. Any other comment? Okay.
For me, I would also like to thank you very much, Irene. I was here today. I wasn't here last Saturday, but today I've really learned a lot, and this training was really insightful for team building, our planning, especially when we are team leaders. Yeah. But for me, maybe I would just say, I don't know whether it's an observation or a question, but I've noticed this team building events, especially when employees you're bringing many different teams and employees are hyped up, they are excited about an event. And it's sort of, after that, that hype tends to die off. And, sometimes I wonder, how can you keep that fire burning? Does that mean that you'll have a team building event every year to keep people in that mode? And again, when it's too much, again, they lose that interest. I don't know what it is that I've noticed. Sometimes that fire dies off, after a while.
I agree with you, Irene. For real, when people come from a team building, they're very excited. The next week, it just vibe, what happens, and after that, it dies.
Yeah.
And I'll attempt, and I'll also open up to the members in case somebody has something they would want to share. And I'd want to share an experience at our place I was, and would have the team building activities.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that worked for us was that after we came from the team building, like people will always be grouped. We did not kill those groups. So people formed like the WhatsApp groups, with this WhatsApp and everything, so they could keep on interacting. And I remember they would even have like some would have weekly meetings, and some would have like monthly meetings, so that to keep the vibe, because I've realized the moment you just go for the team building and there's no action plan, what next? It just dies. And you agree with me, with time, you'll be told, even from my HR perspective, we cannot afford to sponsor you for another team building activity. So you have to look for innovative ways. So for me, that worked. But by the groups that were formed, like I remember we had like 4 groups. One was blue, there was green, there was red. I think blue, there were like 4. So they formed different groups. And they became so strong in the sense that they would, even if one of them has a wedding, the whole group would. And even to date, interesting, even to date, some of those groups are still very strong, that they still support each other. They'll have competition. Then internally, we would, like every quarter, would have like some quiz or some activity that is internally done, then these groups will compete. So it will be like music. Like I remember one time we had, it was around Christmas, it was around this time, and we had a competition for the Christmas carols. So each group would now meet and look for a song that they're going to sing. So then during the staff party, so the group comes and performs their song, and out of the 4 group, 1 group will win. We also had some tournaments, but that was internally, so that the fire keeps going. Because I agree with you, if you don't continue firing up the fire, then the fire goes off. So, and I'm sure maybe if you engage with the teams, you may be surprised they may be having some ways of ensuring that that fire does not die. So I agree with you, that is a big gap. And the CEO will always tell you guys are always going for team building. After that, nobody is excited. So that is one thing that really worked for me at a place I was. So that is what I can say. Maybe someone else can share the experience or what someone can do to ensure that that fire continues. So Irene, I hope I've attempted to respond.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. But always ensure that after the team building, have some action plan. It's like, from here, where do we go? What do we do, you know? Because that is what will now bring all those activities and all those internal engagements that don't require any financial implication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. And thank you so much. I also really appreciate your engagement. You've really been very engaging. I really appreciate, and also Khadija and all the other members, I appreciate. Okay, good people. If we have no other questions, I think I will close up, and I want to wish you all happy holidays. And I look forward to seeing you again in another class. And kindly just engage with our YouTube. You get the notes and can be able to just check in case there are areas that were not clear. So otherwise, I have to adjourn. Like we said, at the end of that team, then we adjourn. So I want to adjourn and say kwaheri and happy holidays. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
Irene.
Okay, cheers.
Bye.